Hey, how's it going, YouTube? I'm back in the video, and today I'm going to be bringing you the first video of a series that I'm thinking about doing. It's pretty much going to be where teams went wrong, or like why bottom feeder teams like the Suns, Lakers, Pelicans, teams like all of that, all the very bad teams, I'll be going to where they actually went wrong and why they are in the position they are right now and how they can rebuild that team and everything. So the Lakers are going to be the first team I do, and if you do want to see more of this, obviously comment below you want to see more, like the video, subscribe, do all that if you really want to see more of these type of videos. I really do think this series could be a pretty cool thing to do. That's why I'm doing it. Basically, I'm be going into like the last time they were actually good and stuff, and then I'm be getting to like actually how they ended up coming here. Why are they actually bad? Why aren't they as good as they used to be? So without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. Alright, so before I get into where they actually went wrong, I go into all the off-season moves and things that did affect the team. I'm be going into when were they last good. Well, they were last good in 2012. That was their last winning season that they've had in recent history, and they haven't won a playoff series since 2011. But that last year that they had a winning season, they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs, which was a huge blow to the Lakers, as they were actually projected to be finals contenders that year, as they added Dwight Howard and Steve Nash. Now, obviously, we know Steve Nash did not work out, and Dwight Howard also did not work out with the Lakers. So, I mean, that was a very upsetting year for a lot of Lakers fans, and they really just, like, blew it up after that. And they haven't, like I said, haven't won a playoff series since 2011, and their last finals was won in 2009, coming off of a two-peat of the NBA Finals from the year before. But since then, they have been struggling pretty hard to win games, as they haven't had a winning record, like I said, in 6 years, which is a huge blow to a Lakers franchise that is known for winning championships and just being great overall, with great names across the board that were part of their franchise. And even with LeBron James, they are still at a 29-31 record, still haven't had a winning record this year. I mean, they had one, but they currently do not, and they're actually looking like they're out of the playoffs. I mean, they're currently the 11th seed in the West. Yes, there's a chance that they do make the playoffs. Yes, they're probably going to make the playoffs. If I'm being realistic, it's LeBron James. But I mean, there's a very real chance they don't even make the playoffs this year. So I'm beginning to where they actually went wrong. How are they in this position? How do you go from going to two peaks into finals in 2009 and 2008 to being one of the bottom teams in 2019. So I'm beginning to all that. I'm going into all the offseason moves they made up till this point since that 2012 season. I'm going into all the bad offseason moves they made and pretty much why they are currently in this position. Then I'm going into the overall result and the overall main thing that has put them in the position they are right now. So my first thing I'm beginning to is the 2012 offseason, as right after they finished that 2011 campaign, they went off and traded either 2013 and 18 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks for a 38-year-old Steve Nash. Now, yes, Steve Nash was a great player. I mean, he was a league MVP, he's a future Hall of Famer, one of the best point guards to ever live. But he was 38 years old, so he was nowhere near the player that he was with Phoenix all those years. So, I mean, it was pretty much a very overhyped thing. And to give up 2 first-round picks and 4 picks total, not the best trade for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially because Steve Nash just really never panned out for them. But another bad trade they made in that same offseason was that they traded Andrew Bynum, Christian Evans, Josh McRoberts, and a second-round pick for Dwight Howard. Pretty much, I mean, they waived the other 2 players in the trade, so pretty much just Dwight Howard. So, I mean, and Dwight Howard, although being a MVP candidate in Orlando, one of the best players in the league in Orlando, he, once again, just like Steve Nash, never worked out in the Lakers. But, I mean, Steve Nash had an excuse. He's old. He was about to retire anyway. But, I mean, Dwight Howard was young, coming off one of his best seasons, and he obviously requested a trade from Orlando. He wasn't happy there anymore. So he went to the Lakers and to make the super team. But it just never worked out. I mean, he was never going back. He never went back to himself at all, and he just really never was that good. Yes, he averaged 17 points per game, but I mean, the relationship between all the players just wasn't good. I've heard it was a toxic relationship through reports I've read and stuff. So I mean, overall, just Dwight Howard only spent 1 season with the Lakers. Another big upsetting factor for a Lakers if you're a Lakers fan. So that 2012 offseason saw them give up 2 first-round picks and 3 second-round picks, so 5 picks total for 2 players that only stayed with the team for 1 year and 2 years total. If you add the amount of years that they stayed with teams combined, they only spent 2 years, and what they got out of it was getting bounced in the first round. So that offseason was very bad, as they now they didn't have their first round pick last year. The next draft they didn't, and then another first round. Yeah, it was just overall bad trades. Those were both really bad trades for the Lakers, and it really did hurt the future of their franchise. Now, yes, they were in win now mode, and I don't really blame them for the Dwight Howard trade, but still, I don't think it should have been done. But now the 2013 offseason, really nothing happened besides the fact that they lost Dwight Howard, and I mean, everybody was kind of seeing that coming anyway, so no big surprise. They didn't do nothing bad, but they really didn't do nothing good for their franchise either. So I mean, that 2013 offseason, nothing really happened. It wasn't very good, but in the actual 2013 season, they only won 27 games, and a big problem was that just because Kobe Bryant had that Achilles injury. He only played 6 games in that year, and I mean, that injury pretty much ended Kobe Bryant's career, at least the greatness of his career, due to that injury. So that was a huge factor to why they aren't that good as well. And then the 2014 offseason, getting into that now, they gave Nick Young a $21.3 million contract for 4 years, so not a horrible contract. But it's Nick Young, and Nick Young has never been a star-level player in the league, and that's still a pretty sizable contract to give someone like Nick Young. And then also they waived Steve Nash, so he was officially off. So that entire 2012 offseason for the trade for Steve Nash and Dwight was completely waived in just 2 years. So, I mean, obviously a very bad season. The 2015 offseason, literally nothing bad happened. I mean, it was a whatever offseason. They really didn't do anything. And then the 2016 offseason, though, they gave horrible contracts. 3 players. I mean, I don't know what got into them, but they were just like, here, have our money. We don't care about it anymore. I guess they got tired of being awful, but this really didn't help them not be awful. I don't know what they were doing this offseason. They gave horrible contracts to Luol Deng, who got a 4-year, $72 million contract. I mean, that is a huge contract to give someone, and Luol Deng was one of the worst contracts for a long time until they bought him out, so they did have to pay the entirety of that. But then another bad contract they gave out was to Jordan Clarkson. Yes, to Jordan Clarkson, currently on the Cavaliers, who literally everyone hated during the NBA Finals and NBA playoffs due to how bad he was playing, and that dude somehow managed to get a 4-year, $50 million contract, and they gave one more just because they wanted to, gave up one more bad contract to Timothy Mozgov. He wasn't even a good player when they gave him the contract. Like Jordan Clarkson, alright, I can understand. Luol Deng, I can understand a little bit. But Timothy Mozgov, there was no reason to do this. They gave him a 4-year, $64 million contract. So, like, they just gave out 3 huge contracts that ruined their cap. Like, it made no sense to do it, and they did it for some reason, and I don't know why they did it. They completely ruined their cap by doing it. But another bad move that wasn't really a bad move, but, like, looking back at it, it was kind of bad. It's kind of hard. I mean, both teams really came out pretty good out of it, was trading D'Angelo Russell. Now, I think they should have kept him, as I mean, he's currently an all-star, averaging 20.5 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, and 6.7 assists per game, but you can't blame them for wanting to trade him, because, I mean, he was bad chemistry, bad attitude, snitched on Nick Young, and at the time wasn't living up to his potential, and they were about to draft Lonzo Ball. So, I mean, there's no point in having 2 young point guards on your team, so I can see why they traded him. Plus, they got Kyle Kuzma and Brook Lopez out of it, but, I mean, I think you can still pretty confidently say D'Angelo Russell is a better player than both Lonzo and Kuzma, at least right now. Kuzma and Lonzo might end up being better. I currently like Lonzo Ball. I really do like him. And I mean, Kyle Kuzma is a good player as well. But I mean, D'Angelo Russell, you can't really make the argument. D'Angelo Russell is a better player, and they would benefit so much more if they had 2 All-Stars on the team and D'Lo and LeBron than if they only had what they have right now. And Lopez was never really good with them. He was pretty bad with them, actually. And obviously, Kyle Kuzma has worked out pretty well. But now, last year's offseason, they didn't do anything bad. They actually did pretty good. The only bad thing I think they did was letting Julius Randle walk. As we've seen with the Pelicans, Randle's having his best year of his career. He's having one of the... Now, yes, that can come from playing with Anthony Davis, but even since Anthony Davis has been out since he requested a trade, he's still been playing very good. So that was really the only bad thing they did, and that's really not that bad at all. So, I mean... But like you can see, pretty much my biggest thing that I could find, because like if you really go through the grand scheme of things, among how bad they could have done, they really didn't do that bad. Besides the 2 trades and for some reason 2016 offseason where they were just like, take our money. Now, yes, they had a salary cap spike, but still, I mean, that was a lot of money to give out to those players. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at it, they really didn't have horrible GM or managing at all. They could have been better. It could have been a lot worse. So, yeah, I don't think it was horrible, but the main reason is pretty much them just not wanting to do anything in the offseason. As, I mean, there were 3 offseasons where literally nothing happened, pretty much, good or bad, and they didn't work to improve their team, and they didn't work to, like, make their team any worse. So yeah, it was kind of weird, but I mean, it could have been a lot worse. And I think besides for the 2012 and 2016 offseason, really, they didn't have horrible off seasons, except for the ones they literally just did nothing. But yeah, I really can't get too mad at them, and I think it was actually pretty good, decent GMing by the Lakers, and I think they just, unfortunately, some of their draft picks haven't worked out, and they have given out some bad contracts. But right now, I think LeBron just completely shot the chemistry. That's why they're not playing that good as of right now. But yeah, I really don't think they're horrible GMing at all. But yeah, that's pretty much what went wrong, why they're in the position they are right now. But I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you think the Lakers are going to rebound in the next couple of years? Do you think they'll make the playoffs? Do you think I missed anything? I want to hear your comments in the comment section below. And if you'd like me to play, like me, subscribe button. I have to give all thanks to God as well, though. I mean, he's the reason I'm here. He's blessed me to put me in this situation. He's blessed me to keep me drove to make these videos every other day for you guys. And I cannot thank him enough. I'm so blessed that he's kept me safe, kept all the people around me safe. And I just love doing this and spreading the thing through these videos as well. Thank you guys for all the support y'all been showing. Y'all have been killing it lately. I cannot thank y'all enough. And I hope you have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. See you in tomorrow's video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.